Oh, yes, Potter!
Yes guys, how's it going? You're watching Cricket District and this is episode 2 of Village vs Pro with thanks to Canterbury. We're here at the beautiful Chester Street in Durham to play 3 overs against Durham's finest bowlers. Their all-time leading wicket taker Chris Rushworth, club captain Scott Borthwick and up-and-coming talent Matty Potts. Can't wait to get
Rain shortens day, but Jones' unbeaten 78 sees Durham start well. While Middlesex and Sussex shared the spoils in a high-scoring game at Lord's last week, Durham had their feet up, watching on as the promotion chasers kept up their pursuit of knots at the top of Division 2. This week's host at the Sayat Unique Riverside were looking for their second win of the season. England's Alex Lees partnered Michael Jones at the top of the order for Durham, and the duo set their stall out early, a solid showing from the opening pair. Theirs was an unbeaten 50 partnership when Jones drove Helm through the offside for 4. Middlesex were struggling to create opportunities, Durham threatening to go the entirety of the session without damage. And by the time they made their way through to the first break of the day, the partnership was worth 77, and Middlesex had yet to make the breakthrough. And the early stages of the afternoon session were just as productive for the hosts. Jones up to 50 off 107 balls, as he guided one down to third man off Helm. And their stand moved to 100 when Lees rocked onto the back foot and timed Helm to perfection over the leg side for 6. They were up to 132 when the rain started to fall and an early tee was taken as they waited for conditions to improve. But the weather refused to relent and the day was brought to an early conclusion after 44.5 overs, the spectacle rather ruined by the rain. Durham will return in a decent position on day 2 though. Lees and Jones had done the hard yards amidst the disruptions to leave them 132 for none.
Quarter past 11, 100 overs in the day. Have lost 4 of the 8 they were expected to squeeze on at the end of the day. Lunch at 1:10, tea at 4 p.m, close at 6:30 in theory. Had a slight delay here to proceedings. The ground staff are just finishing off their morning work, but it was really damp here first thing after the deluge yesterday, which took the players off mid-afternoon after just 40 odd overs were possible yesterday. 44.5 overs possible yesterday, so we'll have a slightly longer day today and they'll squeeze in 100 overs to try and claw some time back. We start at 11:15 and Durham will resume their first innings on 132 without loss.
So we just let them get through the nose with 2 coffees and use the rest of the cup the rest of the day. Keep it hidden. This is when you get your coffee, like one of the seats, one of these pump ones. Yeah. Put his cows there. So obviously it's a their slot. Oh, really? It's got the straight all them years ago.
don't be silly. Disguised as face up to yourself a nice before. I still because just yesterday, when I please don't
And the people that's thinking,
why would you
why did she mention the money? Why did she say that? What's going on here? Yes. Probably the worst thing you could have said. Oh, I'm sorry.
great? Well, I thought it was the victims of the Old Bailey bomb and the Tower of London bomb. I mean, I was actually working on the phone to space and heard the bomb go off.
Well, the clouds are still a little bit. Sun's come out. So it shouldn't be as bad back as it was when the first one did.
There may still be clouds,
Well,
moisture coming off the
we're
ground.
having this discussion that we don't know how it works. But even if we lose a couple of wickets before lunch, 150 for players, we will settle that all the work that we do.
I just checked with the says, and he said, just this week, 3 o'clock, 70% chance of rain. 4 o'clock.
Somebody was 90 them all.
4 o'clock was 90.
Yes. Well, sitting here,
There was this fantastic
it was what see, that way, didn't it? You see it go that way and we're thinking it was drifting that way.
Yes.
And then it just northwest. And
Because I got in about 3:30.
that looks worse because the other one was higher. That you could see was go down. That you was listening to bits on the radio. Or just had reported in Washington, or had reported somewhere else. So it's coming. It's coming. But it wasn't as bad. It was slightly reminded me of the National Express. The route going this way. And there was just this out over there and around there. And apparently it was thin night. Brilliant sunshine. Guess that's an amazing term. It was swollen.
That was absolutely fun. So I remember, I mean, we were staying in this friend of mine.
Well, good morning and welcome to Chesley Street for day 2 of Durham against Middlesex in the county championship. It was a brief day 1 yesterday. We only managed 44 overs, I think it was. the 44.5 overs. The weather was gradually surrounding us and was hammering down in Washington and Sunderland and Newcastle and everywhere else. Then eventually it got here and the players went off at 247 with Durham 132 for none. Alex Lee's on 46, Michael Jones on 78. There were 51.1 overs remaining in the day, so they lost 35 overs, given that they would be able to claim 8 back today and 8 tomorrow. But we've now had a slight delay today, so we've lost another 4 overs today, while the ground staff have been trying to get the square dry and fit for play. So a slight delay, and we get underway in about 2 minutes' time, and there will be 100 overs and 1 ball today. Lunch will be at 1:10, tea supposedly at 4, the close of play at 6:30, so very much expect to be here until about 7 at least. And that means 39 overs have now been lost in the game, and that means around about 240 now for Durham, I think it is. It's the first overs lost this year in Chesley Street in the county championship. So while we went home at about 5 o'clock yesterday, it was left to Nanook of the North to go and try and find himself a coat. And come dressed for winter today, Kevin Hand.
For the North, Marcy, for the North. I was prepared for everything this morning, wasn't I? It's a great coat, that is. I was delighted with that. Yeah, I got a little bit wet on the walk. It was a light but persistent rain yesterday, wasn't it? It was an annoying one. It never really got torrential. We might have had a quick blast of it here when the players eventually came off. It was unlikely that we're going to get back on. It was so set in, but yeah, the rain eased in the evening, and then it was only ever a light trickle all the way through. But yeah, I went and bought a. Yeah, I was pleased with that. Did you ever? There was a year when the temperatures were so cold that we were all asked to be on TMS. I think it was the first week of the season.
2016.
And it was the first. Oh no, it was well before that, I reckon. Maybe. It was the earliest the championship season had ever begun, and England was still playing abroad somewhere. I think in the West Indies. So it was April 4th or something. England was still playing a test match, and we all had to do a little 20 seconds that was put together and played out in the lunch interval in TMS. And that game, it was down in Somerset, opening game of the season, and it was -2 overnight.
Yeah.
So yeah, prepared.
Well,
I bought that jacket.
Year was freezing cold, wasn't it? At the start of the season, it snowed at Trent Bridge on the final day.
It was funny. It wasn't particularly cold here yesterday. It was 18 degrees, so I got a few funny looks, looking like Han Solo on Hoth walking back from.
I don't know what Hoth is. You've missed your audience again, I'm afraid, Kev.
Well, is
this a Star Wars thing, is it?
It is.
Oh,
you know who Han Solo is.
Here we go. Yeah.
Hoth.
He just vanished though, didn't he, one day?
Han Solo?
Yeah. No, who was that? That
Obi-Wan
was Obi-Wan
Kenobi.
Kenobi, wasn't it? Yeah.
Have you seen the new series?
No, of course I haven't. 132 for none then. Cricket is about to break out, and the last ball of the over that began yesterday around about 2:45 is to be bowled by Yadav. So none for 21 from 11.5 overs, 3 maidens. Here he comes to bowl 2 Lees from the Lumley end. Lees plays the ball back down into the ground and back up to mid-on, end of the over.
So your lot would have bowled first as well yesterday, is the
right?
Is the answer? Is that what you got? Did you do an interview last night?
No, I didn't.
Wasn't really worth it, was it?
No.
I had a chat with Sam Robson, asked him. He said a little bit of swing, not much, but a little bit of seam movement, but it died away quite quickly. Yeah, the ball, they got it replaced after 40 overs. It's 45 overs old now.
Didn't get its silver watch then, did it, the ball?
No.
Just missed out on
a
a long service award.
Apparently the seam was quite problematic with this ball from early on. However, it went through the little devices all the way through, and even though the seam was a problem, they were saying, well, the shape's fine. Well, the Middlesex are, yeah, but the seam isn't, and they fancy this ball much more. So let's have a look, because there's still obviously that greenish tinge. Quite a lot of grass was left on because it is more the batting side of the square, isn't it? And also there's obviously been an awful lot of rain that's fallen, so whether that spices things up a little bit, we'll have to wait and see. Middlesex will hope so. They didn't bowl badly yesterday. Here's Roland Jones. 2 slips go down. He bowls to Jones, and that's left alone wide outside off. Through it goes. 2 slips, a point, a cover, and a mid-off. Mid-on, mid-wicket. Square leg and long leg, so a 5-4 field again. Expect it to be pretty full and on the off stump. If there is any little bit of seam movement, then Middlesex will hope to capitalise. All eyes on the ball again, Marty. All eyes on the ball. But yeah, they weren't happy with that one at all yesterday, Middlesex. But they said it did. It seemed about a little bit.
I don't know why you say that, because they only complained about it 5 times.
No, well, here's Roland Jones. He's in, bowls and edged, short of slip. Back foot from Jones. Didn't carry, did it?
No,
short of slip.
Bounced before. Went between the keeper and first slip. I think it's clipped first slip in the shin. On the looks of things.
Eskenazi.
On the bounce. He didn't play against Durham in the first match, did he? I don't think Stephen Eskenazi.
Had a good chat with the slip cord this morning, Eskenazi and Robson. Interviewed Robson last night. They actually threw a question to me this morning. They said, what's been your favourite game to commentate on, Kev? I said it had to be Scarborough in 2016 innings victory for Middlesex. Roland Jones in, bowls, and standing up tall to drive through the covers. That's an imperious shot. Jones moves to 82, 136 without loss, and he's hit that on the up through the covers. Lovely shot. Great way to start the second day for Durham, and especially to respond to an edge the ball before. Am I a little quiet or a little loud?
No, you're a little loud today, Kev. We couldn't wake you up yesterday, but have you had 3 shredded wheat for your breakfast or something?
Yeah. Weetabix. Wasn't there an old advert that was something along the lines of was it the Robin Hood theme tune or something for Weetabix? Do you remember that one? Surely Robin Hood's not out of your realms of knowledge as well.
I can't think of the advert.
I'm sure there was something. It was.
Well, what was the punchline?
He had having his 3 Weetabix.
Yeah. I thought it was 3 shredded wheat. Other breakfast cereals are probably available.
Just not as good.
At varying shops.
Roland Jones in the sunshine at Chesterley Street. He bowls. Solid forward defence from Jones.
It's quite bright out there at the minute, isn't it?
Brighter than in here.
Yeah. I work hard all year to get my IQ level up, and then you arrive. And then plummets again. Where did you dine last night, Kevin?
The big Tesco's.
Did you?
Other supermarkets are available.
The romance. So do you go for the daily special?
Aye. Roland Jones clip into mid wicket is Jones. There's no run. 1 to come with the over. 2 to come with the over. Sorry.
It's the.
I am on form today.
It's people. You know. We have a great jobs and we enjoy them, but there's a lot of it where you're rattling around on your own in the night time in strange towns, isn't there? And I suppose you went to Tesco to look for a bit of company, did you? See who else was in the coat aisle?
Could have been worse. Could have been on the Roca Riviera.
Yeah.
Here's Roland Jones. He bowls, and this ball's run away down to the vacant third. Got quite a chunk of it with high up the bat, opening the face more towards the splice. 138 without loss. What do we do? We haven't been invited this year. Is that because I've said no so many times over the years? You've given up inviting.
Well, you've only come over once, haven't you?
Well,
I think the bus journey back took about 9 hours.
Oh, it did. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, that was miserable. That was. Yeah, that was. I forgot the bus journey. I'm glad you reminded me. Good excuse next time you ask.
Yeah. 137 without loss then. Martin Emerson with you, Kevin Hand here on BBC Radio Newcastle, BBC Radio London.
Awake today. I had a filthy headache yesterday.
And,
I was struggling.
Rob Rush is with us as well.
Are you looking forward to today, Marcy? Now I'm headache free.
Yeah.
Can't wait, can you?
Back's a bit sore, actually.
You were. I will totally admit you were carrying me yesterday. I was feeling rough. It was one of those days you had to get through. It's a bit difficult as a commentator, isn't it? You go into the office and you have a headache and you kind of get through.
You'd have to continue then from the Lumley end, and that's a thick edge from a shortish ball from Jones, and it goes wide down to the vacant third man. We're open already, and just the second over of the day, the pub is open, the vacant third man.
Open all hours.
Drink responsibly.
Yeah, it was quite sunny yesterday morning as well at 11 o'clock.
Really
wasn't it?
sticky and humid, wasn't it? And then by yesterday afternoon when we were leaving the ground, it was just miserable and wet and really windy and cold.
It was a relief for me because I had a headache. It was too bright.
Well, I did question whether your headache could be linked to the humidity, because you can get sort of thunderstorm headaches. Yeah, having again. This is played off the backward point.
More likely linked to the company.
Maybe.
Sorry, we're making up for yesterday, folks. We were being all nice to each other yesterday because I had a headache. Even Marty
doesn't need a response.
Even Marty was being nice to me. No, looking forward to it today. The weather should be on our side from here on in, shouldn't it? I think full days expected today, tomorrow, and thereafter after our delayed start.
Yadav bowls. Jones plays the ball down into the ground and it bobbles away towards the gully area where it is picked up by Luke Holman.
Although we need a bit of a rain delay because we need to go back upstairs for a net, don't we?
Yeah. Your dreadful batting yesterday upstairs.
Hey, it got 35,000 views on TikTok.
I know.
35,000. Got more views than your overseas signing, didn't it, or something?
What is this TikTok thing you talk of?
It's the future, Marcy. It's the future.
Defended this time by Jones. What was it in Only Fools and Horses? It's the future. Oh no.
This time next year.
Was it that other comedian who said, was it garlic bread was the future or something?
Oh, Peter Kay's garlic bread scene. That was great, that one. Garlic bread. What did you go for lunch today? Garlic bread was with the lasagna today,
I went down the curry route today.
Ah, so did I.
Yeah.
Sri Lankan beef curry.
Yeah. Yadav to Jones. This is played from around about middle stump on a length up to mid-off. No run there.
Is this the offering the players get as well? Is this basically
I don't know.
we get a slice
I think we get what's on offer to the members in the members' room.
Okay. Sri Lankan beef curry.
Yeah.
Vegetarian lasagna with garlic bread. Rock and a hard place for those two, really, wasn't it? Garlic bread.
I think I had that lasagna the last home game.
What was it? There was another one.
Yadav bowls. Defended. Back to the bowler. Was it pie or something?
Oh, it was. Minced. Yeah,
no, it was mince and dumplings, wasn't it?
That's it.
Now that could be problematic in a cardboard box. And your dumpling might go soggy rather than stay crunchy.
That's an awful lot of euphemisms in 2 sentences, Marcy.
You need a crunchy dumpling.
Even by your standards. Yeah. 3 in a row.
So, end of the over then, and 141 for none the score.
We're back together soon up here, aren't we, for the One Day Cup?
Yeah.
Is it?
Doesn't it start next week?
Am I mad in thinking it's next week Sunday
Thursday,
we're back up here?
Yeah, I think you are, yeah.
Barely any point going home, is there?
No.
Roland Jones is in, bowls, and forward goes Lees, pushing back, 141 without loss.
You may as well stay up here and get some fresh air. That would what I would do. Durham start against Surrey in South Northumberland next Thursday, is it, I think? Or is it Tuesday?
You play where?
South Northumberland.
South Northumberland?
Yeah.
Is there a North Southumberland?
No. This ground, South Northumberland's ground, is in Gosforth in Newcastle.
Roland Jones onto the legs, and it's clipped fine on mid-wicket, and there's no one. What was that other name that I thought you were making up yesterday?
Eppleton.
Eppleton.
Yeah, that's a...
Yeah, but say it the way you normally say it.
Eppleton.
Eppleton.
Eppleton. There were 24 people watching the cricket on Saturday by the time I got there. There were a lot more indoors, keeping up with football scores. But Eppleton's one of the old colliery welfare grounds between Houghtonley Spring and Hettonley Hole. Got Hetton Lions along that way as well.
Roland Jones is in. This ball's clipped up to mid-on by Lees, and there's no run. Speaking of the collieries, actually, there's a load of... one thing I have to admit, over the years I've been doing it, that I should have done more of, is just learn a little bit more about the local area. Taunton was good for that as well. I think the hotel...
All the collieries in Taunton.
The hotel I stayed at in Taunton, I'm sure it had this wonderful map on the wall. I'm trying to remember which hotel it was now, of the local area.
The Castle Hotel in the centre of town?
It might have been that one, but I can't...
Otherwise, you're out on the M5, aren't you?
Yeah, it's unlikely to be that one. Yeah. Here's Roland Jones bowls, and it's pushed to cover, and there's no... It has a huge map of old Taunton on the wall, and then, you kind of just sort of like picked out little bits around the town centre and thought, it is a town, it's not a city, is it, Taunton? Town centre. But likewise here, walking through the hotel last night, I went for a swim, Marcy. I went for a sauna and a jacuzzi and clear the head. Walking along to the fitness area, through the corridor, past all the executive rooms. What do they call them? boardrooms or whatever. Each one was named after a different local aspect of life. There's Roland Jones is in bowls, and this ball's pushed away towards cover, and there's no run. And the colliery's featured heavily in it. One of it was it was a word. So the name of the room, the word related to the way that they used to get down deep into the coalface and smash down at the bottom of the coal to bring it all down above it. And it kind of thought, you wonder how that word didn't kind of cotton on for a Yorker up here, because you'd go deep into the bottom of it. I'll have to look it up now again and see what the word was.
Well, you can't remember the word.
I'll look it up. I'll find it.
Right.
Here's Roland Jones. He's in bowls. This ball's pushed away into the onside to mid-on, and there's no run. But that was the name of one of the rooms, and each of the rooms had a different name for different aspects of mostly colliery life, but varying aspects of life in the local area. It's lovely, actually. I should have snapped a picture on the way past.
On the Ramside golf course, each hole's got a different name. And it's all local dialect. So one's Gan Canny, another one's Takahad. Oh, they only don't remember. I just want to say good luck to Whitburn Cricket Club today, because the under-13s are playing at Neston Cricket Club in Liverpool in the regional finals of the Vitality Blast. So I'm presuming if they win that one, they'll be in the national finals. So they beat Penrith in their local qualifier last week. There's Yadav bowls here. That's left alone outside the off stump by Jones, who is on 87. So there's a group of them went down on the coach last night, stayed in a hotel down there. So big adventure for the under-13s today, at the start of the summer holidays as well. Pleasant day here. It was quite nice white fluffy clouds a little earlier, and they've become a bit greyer now, but there's no rain forecast. Yadav to Jones. Jones defends. The ball bounces high out into the offside, collected by Stoneman.
Yeah, they felt it seemed about a little bit first thing yesterday, Middlesex, but they didn't do much wrong with the ball. So if they perform as they did yesterday, then hopefully this ball provides a little bit more life for them.
Yadav again, right arm over, defended once more on a length.
Because it's a long old way to the second new ball, another 30 overs.
There'll be about 4 balls between now and then.
Yeah.
Did I mention I'd written an article about it?
You did?
Yeah.
Although I am claiming that I was the one who broke the story.
Third claim
round.
all you like.
Third round on air. When did your story go out?
Well, I did the interview after the game at Middlesex, but the game against...
Oh, well.
Yadav defended.
It's about around 7 by then, wasn't it?
Round
3, I got laughed off there.
It was obviously a problem, first game of the season at Glamorgan, and then the first home game here against Leicestershire. And then the Glamorgan match, I think they got through 11 balls. There was 5 changes in one day. And the last match here, I think there was 4 or 5.
Oh, that was painful, all right. It did take him a couple of rounds to get grips with it, though. It was the second round when I became aware of it.
But they're saying, the manufacturer says they haven't altered the seam at all. Yadav bowls. Oh, an inside edge there from... Oh, Jones, he's played it under his foot and he's limping around. It's gone off towards square leg.
Well, Luke Fletcher had a chat with us during the Notts game, and he just said he felt that there was less stitching on the seam. They all said, the first thing that was ever said to me about it, Roland Jones and James Harris, former Middlesex bowler down at Glamorgan, just said, the seam just doesn't feel right in your hand this year. That was the first thing, because they were all trying to get to grips with it and understand what was going on. They couldn't.
But while they all concentrated on the seam, and the general belief was the seam was smaller, the manufacturers say they've not altered anything other than slightly changing the colour of the ball to a lighter pigmentation.
Yeah.
This delivery from Yadav is played by Jones out into the offside.
Well, it's a maiden. It was just interesting that Harris and Roland Jones were kind of in agreement that the seam didn't feel right in their hands this year. And then by the time I saw Luke Fletcher, which was around that, I can't remember, it was either the game after Durham or the game before. I think it was the game before, wasn't it? And Fletcher had said that the seam feels like it's got less stitching in it this year. It just doesn't feel right. And again, the seam was the big issue yesterday. Here, the seams are broken up or it's gone very soft.
Well, the manufacturer said during COVID, basically getting supplies became an issue because a lot of the tanneries are small businesses.
It's full from Roland Jones, clipped to mid-wicket by Lees, no run.
And then as a result of that, because of the lack of supplies, there was a lack of balls, and because of the lack of balls, they were then sending out the balls they had in a just-in-time fashion to the clubs. So there weren't enough balls being stored. They need to be stored to mature for a fairly lengthy period of time. And so a lot of the balls that have been softening because they haven't really matured. But the only change to the way they made the ball was a slightly lighter ink.
Jones bowls him. There's the first wicket. Lees is gone for 46, 141 for 1. Hits the top of off stump, and yep, as Marty says, may well have just got a little inside tickle as he pushed tentatively forward at that length. 134 deliveries for his 46 Lees. It was a really fine effort from him. He dug in hard for his county. Just that one top edge off helm that went for 6, but other than that, very few full strokes in there. 4 boundaries. His long vigil comes to an end, and Middlesex, well, it's taken him 5 or 6 overs with this replacement ball where Roland Jones has drawn the error from the batter with a good solid line and length. 141 for 1.
Yeah, he just got a bit of an inside edge there, I think.
Scrub back on the stream and have a look. It just looked like it was on a very good line and length, and he pushed forward at one, and yeah, it's gone through the gate for sure. Whether there was an inside edge or not, they certainly nipped back at it. Seemed back at him, didn't it?
Is this Scott coming out the bat? Where's my binoculars gone?
Borthwick.
Yeah.
Well, 50 overs in, they've waited a long time for the breakthrough, but yeah, Middlesex will know if they can just grab a couple early this morning, then it just tightens things up. Jones has batted beautifully, hasn't he, for his 87. His scoring rate in the 50s. Lees had dropped to the 30s by the end, which also tells you a little bit about how Middlesex are bowled. I think they bowled extremely well on this one, and well, they'll hope that they can find the reward this morning. Here's Roland Jones to Borthwick. Bothersome Borthwick, as he was dubbed over the years by Tim Mercer's wife, Karina, who would tune in.
He was averaging. He went through a spell
runs.
where he was averaging more than 90 against Middlesex, wasn't he? He's had a few scores in the 90s this year, but I can't recall that he's got 100 on the board yet.
2 slips, a backward point, cover, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wickets. Shortish mid-wicket as well, quite straight. Fine, I should say. As this ball's on a good length with a thick edge along the floor to backward point. Long leg completed the field. Yeah, Milan in there, is it?
He's had a 96, a 90, an 89. And then further down a 64.
This summer?
Yep.
So he's not reached 3 figures yet?
No, his 96 came at Worcester. He was out about the first 10 minutes of day 2, and then that brought in Ben Stokes, who batted himself. It took him ages to bat himself in as he hit a century and 17 sixes.
Borthwick's in, bowls, and this ball's clipped in the air in between the 2 mid-wickets. It was Milan at the first of those mid-wickets, rolling to his right. They've all got their hands on their heads. Didn't quite keep it down, but he's timed it nicely enough for 4. Borthwick off the mark with a boundary, 145 for 1.
Yeah, Stokes watched about the first 2 balls and just went to town. Hit 34 runs in 1 over. Against, was it Josh Baker, was he called, young spinner?
Yep.
And I think he scored the most amount of runs in a morning in a championship game. 17 sixes, which was an English record. Used 4 or 5 different bats in the process.
Here's Roland Jones' follow-up. It's full, and it's turned to mid-wicket. There's no run. Where would he be today, Ben? So actually, be tuned in. Will the stream be on the big screen in the kitchen in the Stokes household on a smart TV?
Probably, I would imagine.
On mute, of course, yeah.
Just when the bowler's coming from the finger line.
Aye, he's been a champion of the game this summer, hasn't he, Ben Stokes? It was lovely to see one of his tweets about the attendances at the test matches. Roland Jones comes in, Borthwick forward turns to Max Holden, who's the second of those mid-wickets, much straighter position for him. 145 for one, the breakthrough for Middlesex. Lee's picked up maybe just a little inside tickle on one that nipped back through the gate. And Lee's departs.
Fifth over of the day, wasn't it? Or the fourth, because there was one ball, so the fourth over of the day, the wicket?
44 did we resume on?
It was 44.5, wasn't it? So it was the fifth over of the day, wasn't it?
Yep, so Lee's gone for 46. A relief for Middlesex to make the breakthrough.
Yadav, right arm over from the Lumley end. That's carved down towards backward point and stopped by Hallman. One bounce. It was low. Let's just grade over a bit now, Kev. Some darker stuff just sitting over us for the time being.
Yeah, Middlesex won't mind that. Every little help. Every little helps. That was that supermarket I went to last night, wasn't it? Two slips crashing down. Here's Yadav.
Jones on strike. Leaves that one outside the off stump.
I tell you what, it's clouding over here, but Lumley Castle. Oh, it's just clouded over the castle as well. I was going to say, it looks lovely in the sun. Sunshine just catching one side of the castle and the brownish tinge to the brick there. It looked beautiful in the sunshine.
There's one thing that's niggled me this year about the castle.
Go on.
See if you can guess what it is.
The flag's not there?
Yeah.
Why?
Dunno. I don't know the owner. But there's normally a flag on the roof, which is always a good indicator of which way the weather's coming from. Yadav bowls. Jones looks to try and turn this through the leg side. It whacks him off the thigh pad and goes towards short leg. But
I thought you were on first name terms with the owner.
Isn't it the Earl of Scarborough?
I thought it was Joanna, wasn't it?
Lumley Castle. Have you ever met Joanna Lumley?
No, should I have?
Well, I don't know.
Have you?
No.
Oh.
I've seen her at the...
I was wondering where this story was going.
No, she was on stage at the Motor Show once, years ago, when I was down at the NEC. Must be 20 odd years ago. Met Gloria Hunniford.
Yeah, go on.
Well, they were all members of the Lord's Taverners. Ainsley Harriott, Gloria Hunniford, a few others. Was Nicholas Parsons a member of that as well? They were all out in Antigua for the Test match in 2004, and we all ended up sitting in the same row. Yadav into Borthwick, and there's an appeal. Borthwick playing across the line. I think he got a bit of bat on that because the bowler gave up as he was starting his appeal there.
Yeah, the fact that they died down so
replays.
quickly.
You don't have to keep going backwards on my stream and getting it all out of kilter.
Ooh, swinging down the leg side as
I'm
well.
have to fast forward that again now.
You can do it. You can do it. Oh, there's a big sign that says tap to unmute.
Yeah, but I've turned the volume down anyway. .146 for one. Yadav, right arm over to the left-handed Borthwick, who drives the ball back to the bowler and then leaps away in, I think, fear that Yadav might be hurling the ball back in his direction, but he doesn't.
I was at the new Broadcasting House BBC offices a couple of weeks back, and there's a coffee shop downstairs. We've mentioned a lot of brands this morning. I don't need to mention that one, but right down at the bottom of New Broadcast. It's a lovely little spot actually, because obviously it's quite a historical spot, isn't it?
Was it Mellow Birds?
Mellow Birds?
Yeah. Don't tell me you've never had Mellow Birds coffee.
No.
No, have you not? Yadav in, gone down the leg side.
Chain?
I don't even know if it... No, it was a brand from the 70s or something.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
I don't know if it still exists.
Well, it felt like I was in the 70s, because I was at the front of the queue,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden...
You still get it.
Ah.
Other coffees are available, and I don't drink coffee, it disagrees with me, so...
Anyway, I was at the front of the queue, speaking of the 70s, and all of a sudden I looked to my left, Gloria Hunniford. You know, one of your childhood memories growing up. She was on everything, wasn't she, Gloria Hunniford? She was the Noel Edmonds of her day, wasn't she?
Wish you were here, wasn't she on?
Everything. And then I turned to my right, Angela Rippon.
Oh yeah, what's
What a time warp I was in there.
Is it Rip Off Britain they present on the BBC? Something like that.
Angela Rippon's Rip Off Britain.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Roland Jones, 146 for 1. He bowls, and this is left alone outside of the off stump. Well, that was what it was.
They
It
do a
was obviously some show because they were having a meeting in the coffee shop.
Yeah, they
all
do
of
a
them, so-
consumer affairs show.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah. Right, on that note, I'm going to pop off for a few minutes and bring Rob in, and then I'll come back for the 12 o'clock news.
On the note of nostalgia of our youth, this is all going over Rob's head at the moment, isn't it? Gloria Rippon, Angela who? Here comes Roland Jones. Midway through his run up, he bowls now, and this one's pushed back up the track, and there's no run. Who'd be the modern day equivalent of Angela Rippon? She was a newsreader to begin with, wasn't she? And then she ended up on Morecambe and Wise. You can just nod if you want at this point, Rob.
I will nod intently.
The modern day version of I guess it would be one of the newsreaders that ended up on Strictly or something would be the modern day equivalent, wouldn't it?
The one who hosts Question Time.
The one who hosts Question Time, yeah? Yeah. 146 for 1. But anyway, that coffee shop at New Broadcasting House, it's just a nice spot because obviously it does have a lot of history surrounding it. New Broadcasting House. Charles de Gaulle's famous speech was made there, wasn't it? So here's Roland Jones in, bowls, and forward goes Jones, pushing defensively into the offside. Strike rate in the 50s, Jones. He's a big wicket. If Middlesex could dislodge him now as well, get the 2 overnight batters, and they were the 2 on the board, then they'd feel...
Two fresh guys at the
yeah,
crease.
exactly. You know, new day, fresh start against both.
He's played brilliantly for his 88 so far.
He has. I can't really think of a foot that he's put wrong.
I think there was a slight LBW chance, but on yesterday, but it was going down low with other night. He's played everything brilliantly.
Second best innings of the day at Chesterley Street yesterday, wasn't it, from Jones? So here's Roland Jones in, bowls to him, and speaking of full strokes, little inside edge onto the pads, rolls away safely into the offside. 146 for 1.
If you're saying that second, who's the best?
Oh
innings?
well, you know. I'd say that.
I'd say Ash. I'd say Ash. He came off for comms.
Was it Ash that got that nicked off that swinging ball outside off from me? Good all-round performance on the top floor of the media centre in the rain delay yesterday. We're all hoping for rain again today, so we can do it again.
Well, some of us have gone TikTok famous overnight.
I don't know. They didn't include us on the
needed to tweet it out for the
handles.
Twitter account.
Roland Jones bowls. That takes a bit of bounce, and Jones rides it uncomfortably into the onside from high up on the splice.
Need to have a word with Josh and Sam up in the media box. Need to get it tweeted out.
Marcy stormed off on all this talk, hasn't he?
He heard TikTok and just went.
Almost as quickly as he stormed off from his little batting session upstairs. he had about 3 balls and he disappeared, didn't he?
He heard the word TikTok as well. I'm not having this again.
Yeah, they saw the standards, you know. Roland Jones has passed the umpire, he bowls, and this ball's pushed back a good length once more. Now he stood up tall and there you go. He stood up tall and drove one of those away through the covers earlier, Jones, and he replays the same now, but he defended that one. On the up, shall we say. Maiden over from Roland Jones, 15 bowled, 5 maidens, 1 for 29. And a good day in prospects here at Chesterley Street, you'd fancy. Middlesex have got that early breakthrough that they needed for the match as well as much
100%.
as themselves. Just need to get this game moving a little bit.
Well, we saw it in Borthwick's first, 3-4 overs deliveries faced. Almost clipped on straight to mid-wicket. If you could have got him out second ball there, tide really has turned. Obviously they'll be happy with the breakthrough as it'll be Yadav to continue coming around the wicket to Borthwick, 2 slips. If they could have got Borthwick then, you get into Beddingham, who's not had the best of years. He had a quick start but has unfortunately dropped off for Durham. Yadav in, bowls. Borthwick pinned on the crease, not out from the umpire. LBW shout there. Maybe height the issue there. Borthwick got a little bit trapped on the crease, didn't know whether to go forward or backwards, and I think saved by the fact there was a bit of a shorter pitch delivery, bit back of a length from Yadav. Good start though to the over. Immediately got Borthwick thinking about what's going to be next. Is he going to be allowed? Cover, as always, is wide open, trying to tempt him for that drive, but the trade-off is there. You have 2 slips and the keeper eagerly waiting for an edge. Yadav in again to Borthwick, who digs this one out from right under his feet, just pushes it back, no run. It's been good tone setting as well from Yadav and Roland Jones. Obviously
skipper Roland Jones picking up the wicket. Yadav's not been expensive either. Kept it relatively tight, not allowing Durham to get anywhere. Run rate of just under 3 for the innings. Slightly picked up in the morning session yesterday after the change bowlers, but overall very good. Yadav in again. Borthwick goes backs and defends. No run.
Yeah, Marty got a little bit worried that we'd all be in trouble upstairs playing indoor cricket in the press centre.
We don't talk about the potential damage that's been done to the roof.
Well, no, it was good enough for Alistair Cook and Isha Guha, wasn't it? In the working for TMS at Lords, we're allowed to do it. They were doing it during a test match, weren't they? Upstairs in a rain delay.
I'm trying to think of the field we had at one point. We had a keeper. I think two mid wickets were in play.
There was no field saving any of yous.
Yadav in again. Borthwick looks to cut, but backward point stops it easily. No run.
Someone did comment to say no. What was it? No aggressive shots allowed. It was just timing. It wasn't aggression.
No, there were a few exquisite drives that made its way to the far end of the press box.
Just a forward defence, really.
Remember, we have a guy up there who pinned me on the crease, LBW. I will still contend that decision to this day. I believe it was height, but the dubious umpire committee unfortunately gave me out, so I had to return to my fielding at short mid-wicket. Yadav in. Borthwick looks to drive, but safely stopped by the field and no run. Also had you out first ball stumping, but you refused to walk. If only we had DRS in the third umpire, then we could have.
I was batting deep within my crease.
I also had a missed catch. We don't talk about that.
Yes. I did walk on a. You dropped one. You dropped me, didn't you?
I did
Late
indeed.
Cut. I did hand over the bat at that point. It had been Lara-esque.
I had about 4 chances.
Sam Northeast.
Had about 4 chances. It didn't take any of them. Yadav to finish the over to Borthwick. Back of a length, pulls. Don't think he'll go all the way. Should get a comfortable 2 though. Bamber setting chase round from fine leg, and he will cut it off. There was talks of a third, but Jones sends Borthwick back. He's calling for a new helmet or new gloves or something. End of the over, Durham 148 for 1.
Yeah, Marty's back. I said you were a bit nervous about it, Marty, up there, that we'd get in trouble for it, but don't you remember Isha Guha and Alistair Cook playing in the media centre at Lords on the top floor outside the TMS commentary box? Good enough for them, good enough for us. We're allowed to. They were playing a bit of tape ball cricket up there on that top floor. It's quite nice. It's just a little bit too low, the head height on the top floor of the media centre, to be able to do it properly. But there's a nice little alley behind all the commentary boxes. Then there's a row of seats that face the other way, and desks for the snappers, for the photographers. And there's a lovely little alley that just runs between the two that makes a perfect little line.
We had a little feline friend join us as well for a little bit of fielding. Get her in under the lid.
Feline?
No, sorry, dog.
Yeah, you're going to upset Joe calling Joe Rushworth's dog a feline. Here's Roland Jones. Oh, no, I don't think it took the edge. It's put down by Simpson, but goes past the edge. Just a little bit more happening out there this morning, isn't there, for Middlesex?
100%. Whether I think you said before we came on air they were maybe a little bit too short to start with yesterday, and then overcorrected themselves. Yeah,
I mean, what I was saying was, for the majority of the day, they were very full.
Yeah.
And we'd all commented, could they have actually put in a little bit more shorter stuff? But yeah, just talking to one or two, I have to say that first hour was pretty foggy for me yesterday. That headache was rotten. I just asked one or two and thought, what anything could have been done differently, maybe a little fuller to begin with. As here's Roland Jones. This ball's run away down to the vacant third by Jones off the back foot. He'll get 4 to move him into the 90s. He's on to 92, and that's the 150 up for Durham as well. 152 for 1. Coming up in the 54th over. So yeah, the comment was along the lines of, to begin with, maybe a fraction too short, and then thereafter settled into a length that was perhaps a fraction too full, which was what we all observed. Ash Thorpe was here yesterday as well, wasn't he? And he said, yeah, maybe they could try a few bumpers and just try and mix it up a little bit, because the batters were sitting happily on the front foot by that point. But overall, they bowled with great control. We're not talking about, it was long hops or half volleys from any stretch of the imagination from Middlesex. As here's Roland Jones, he's in, bowls, and hits that solid length again that goes through to Simpson. And now
it's cut him in half.
Yeah, there's a lot of looks through. Simpson has claimed it cleanly behind the stumps, hasn't he? So
it's done something off the pitch. It's cut Jones in half, gone straight through him.
Well, there's definitely more seam movement today. Now, I'm not touching Marty's screen because he gets upset with me. He promises there's going to be a replay.
6 years later, we're still waiting for the infamous replay.
Has it been and gone? Can I scrub back, or are you going to get upset with me? You're not going to get upset. You will get upset. Shall I do it now just for the bedevilment, the entertainment of the listeners? Here's Roland Jones in, bowls. Oh, goes past the edge again. This time the outside edge.
First slip was interested there.
Yeah.
He was definitely interested for a second.
Well, you can understand from Jones's point of view, if he's had one cut him in half, then the next one goes past the outside edge as he just overcompensates a little bit. Let's have a look at the ball before that went through. Yeah, went straight through him. Simpson grabbed it cleanly, so absolutely fine. Now let's get back to live, Marcy. All you have to do is keep tapping it to the bit you want. As this ball's clipped down to long leg for a single by Jones, who moves to 93, 153 for 1 to come the over. As Borthwick's on to strike.
Ethan Bamber's just gone through some warm-up stretches down in front of us.
Oh, we've had. How long have we had? Oh no, it wasn't 11 o'clock start, so it's not 53 minutes. It is 38 minutes we've had so far, so about time roughly for a change. Roland Jones has bowled with more threat this morning, hasn't he, than Yadav? I think it's fair to say. There was that one LBW appeal swinging down leg.
He's got the movement going. He's got a little bit of something off the pitch, whether we talked about yesterday, obviously being a tall bowler, get some extra bounce off the surface.
He's in now, bowls, and this is left alone by Borthwick through to Simpson, end of the over, 153 for 1.
You might mention, with the heavy rain as well, you did mention at the start that maybe it's...
Spice it up a bit?
Yeah, it's definitely doing something, whether it's Roland Jones just... Maybe the change of ball has worked for Middlesex a little bit. Maybe it's a little bit of everything. Rain spiced the pitch up. The change ball's doing something. He's trying something different. It's working. The pitch is definitely reacting. You know, we had that one in the over where Jones was cut in half. Like you say, Yadav's had an LBW appeal, turned down for just going down leg slightly. Borthwick. There's been a lot more chances for Middlesex early on today than there were early yesterday. Durham kind of snuffed out any real threat early on, and Middlesex have definitely got something going for them this morning, as Yadav will bowl to Jones from the Lumley end. Comes in, bowls. Jones prods, gets an edge, didn't carry to the slips, but it's misfielded, and they'll scramble through for a single. Jones fidgeting outside off. He's definitely done that a few times this morning. A very thin edge, but played it with soft enough hands that didn't carry through to the slip cord, and an unfortunate misfield, I believe, from Simpson. I
think it was a great effort by Simpson, because he realised it wasn't going to carry, so he did everything to get across.
Just a slight miscommunication, slight misfield in the slips, and they were able to carry through for a single. So Jones moves on to 94 now.
I think Simpson just realised that's never carrying, so I've got to go for it. To try and get a glove underneath it. It bounced even before him and then squirts through.
Yadav will remain over the wicket to the left-handed Borthwick. Runs in, bowls. Borthwick attempts to pull a ball that was never really there, and it's not, as Martin just said, it's not really carrying through to Simpson behind the stumps. He tried to pull one there. I think he tried to pick up on the length, but it just wasn't short enough. Wasn't short enough for him to pull, and Simpson doesn't take it cleanly, but no run. As Yadav runs in again, bowls. Borthwick leaves alone outside off. Durham currently 154 for 1. Midway through the 55th over.
I'll be making way for Marty at the end of the over. Yeah, it's been a good start for Middlesex here. There's just been more to talk about this morning than there was yesterday for the bowlers.
Yadav in again, bowls to Borthwick, who defends. They take the quick single and they get there comfortably. Good drop and run there from Borthwick. He moves on to 7, 155.
How do you know, says Marty? Only turn up for the good days. Glory boy. Glory hunter. There wasn't much to talk about yesterday, so why waste the energy? That was a rough old feeling yesterday.
I think
bad day at the office yesterday.
Most of the energy was channelled into bowling him some beamers in the cricket session we had.
Yeah. It picked up by then. It was second half of the day was fine. Could have done with some cricket commentary then. Glad to be here for it today.
Yadav in, bowls, and Jones prods up. There's a quick single. Borthwick slow to get onto it, but gets home safely.
Lancashire all out for 145 against Kent's. Who's done the damage there? I saw a bit of Grant Stewart.
Siney and Matt Henry, I think, have done the bulk of the damage. Hampshire have not got off to a great start. I know Holland got out early against Ben Code for a duck, so last full of wicket was 3 for 1. That was half an hour ago though, so maybe Weatherly and Organ have started together. Matt Henry with the damage, Marty says. A 5 down at Old Trafford, as we down at Old Trafford, we go in the northeast. 5 for 45 for him.
It's all downhill from Durham, Marty, I tell you.
Final ball of the over then, Yadav to Borthwick, who's on 7 bowls. Borthwick looks to clip off his hips, but mistimes, doesn't get
good
all
pace.
Of it.
Good bounce again from Yadav. Right, what do we got to do? We're going to have to. Are you going to want this side, or is it going to matter to you, Marcy, on the headsets? Does it matter whether you're replacing me or Rob or? Stick you in the near one, right? So that means you're going to have to be quiet for a minute, Rob, because Marcy's going to be going into that one. Then we'll work out a rota on air from that. I think Marty didn't bother with the rota today. He was just going to see what capability I had on day 2. He was going to skipper on the cuff.
Yes. I need to turn that on because the news will be coming shortly. Yorkshire and Hampshire. It is raining in Scarbados. So I see that Dave Townsend and Jonathan Doidge went for a fish and chip supper last night in Scarborough in memory of Dave Callaghan, our former Yorkshire commentary colleague. As Roland Jones comes in here and bowls. This is played up to mid-off by Jones. No run there. And as fielded by Tom Helm. Essex 310 for 3 at Chelmsford against Somerset. Gloucestershire 317 all out in Cheltenham on day 1 yesterday, and Northants now 68 for 1 in reply. Warwickshire 253 all out at the Oval against Surrey, who is 16 for 1 in the 3rd over. Roland Jones here bowling to Jones. That's turned to square leg, no run there. Derbyshire managed to scramble their way to 130 before they were eventually out in Worcester yesterday, and Worcestershire 182 for 8 in response. That has the makings of a low-scoring epic. And in Nottingham, Notts 46 for 3 on day 1 against Sussex, so they've only started there today. So that was why we got all the correspondence from Dave Bracegirdle yesterday, because he had nothing to do, but he's commentating today. Roland Jones in, and nearly an edge there from Jones, who's suddenly looking a little bit out of sorts this morning, isn't he? Just pushing it one outside the line of off stump there. The news has begun, so there'll be an update in about 4 minutes or so on Radio Newcastle. 156 for 1 here. Roland Jones 1 for 34. The only wicket to falling to him today. She comes in and bowls, and Jones leaves that one outside the line of off stump.
Jones has looked a little bit more fidgety outside off today.
Yep.
He's definitely looking. I don't know if he's looking to
move your mic up a little bit.
I don't know if he's looking for runs or something, but maybe the pitch, as we mentioned, is doing a little bit more. Maybe he's looking for something.
Yep. Well, as we said, quite a lot of moisture there now after all that rain yesterday. Forgot to check the butt this morning to see if there was anything in it or not. Probably should be. In comes the bowler again, and this is fended away one-handed to square leg to Hallman. No run. There could be another reason why the butt's empty. Maybe the drain's blocked. I'll have to check the drain pipe at some point. Dirty job. Silts up with all kinds.
Plumb around. Block your drains, Marcy.
Yeah. Last ball of this over from the Finkel end. Right arm over to Jones. Jones defends, and that is a maiden. Pressure on Jones then at the moment. Trying to feel his way towards this 100. Just looking to see the stats. Last 10 overs, he's got 13 runs from about 40 balls.
Change of bowling at the Lumley end. Helm has replaced Yadav. Slightly expensive yesterday, 9 overs, 1 maiden, 0 for 53, but whether he was allowed the freedom to be a little bit more searching in terms of a wicket in which Middlesex were not fortunate enough yesterday. Maybe he was allowed that freedom by his skipper. Becoming around the wicket to Borthwick. Did struggle to get his line right against Lees yesterday, so maybe a change in batter, even though they're still left-handed, maybe a change in batter brings about change in fortune for Helm. Comes in, bowls, and Borthwick just defends forward into the offside, no run.
Yeah, none for 53 yesterday for Helm. Borthwick's on 7 from 19 deliveries. Jones has now faced 184 for his 95, but he's at the non-striker's end.
Helm bustling in again. Comes in, bowls. Borthwick prods outside off stump, no run. 2 relatively good deliveries from Helm to start testing the batter on both edges.
Still a bit grey out there at the moment.
It's slightly grey away to our right. Helm in again to Borthwick. Back of a length delivery that rises up the pitch that Borthwick attempts to cut but doesn't make any contact with it. Goes through to the keeper.
Yes, we lost a lot of play yesterday afternoon after heavy rain hit the ground, and that led to a delay this morning. They eventually got underway at 11:15 with Durham 132 for none. They have had 1 wicket go down so far today. Alex Lees was bowled by Toby Rowland Jones for 46 in the 5th over of the day, having put on an opening stand of 141 with Michael Jones. Jones is finding it going a little bit tough at the moment, but he's at the non-striker's end right now. He's on 95 from 184 balls, and the Durham skipper Scott Borthwick's out there with him. He's currently on 7 from 21 deliveries, and Durham are 156 for 1. There you are, the news is out of the road. Next update will be in an hour. Lunch will be at 1:10 today.
How many overs are they making up today? 8, is it?
No, 4, because of the loss of the first quarter an hour. So they were trying to make up 8 today and 8 tomorrow. But
Helm to continue. Bowls. Borthwick again looks to drive outside off stump, and it doesn't make any contact, and Simpson takes a catch. Behind the stumps, no run.
It's miles wide of off stump. You nearly clipped that to the keeper there. He shouldn't have been playing in that, really.
Since the wicket, Durham have looked a little bit more unsettled. Obviously, that does happen, but they are playing at deliveries. You know, Jones has had it. I don't know whether it's the 90s, the nerves are starting to kick in a little bit, but both him and Borthwick are just trying to flash at balls outside off stump that just aren't really there to be hit. Risking giving away your wicket and letting Middlesex back into the game. Helm to finish his first over today. Comes in, Borthwick flicks off his pads straight to short mid-wicket. No run, end of the over. Durham remain 156 for 1.
Another maiden there. What are you watching?
We're enjoying this wicket.
Yeah. If you want to get in touch, at Marty Cricket on Twitter, or you can email weircricket@yahoo.co.uk. It's Kevin Hand BBC, and it's RobRush02.
Still haven't found Rob Rush 01 on Twitter.
Have we? We need to work out who that is.
Some news down at Old Trafford for Kent. Sam Billings has tested positive for COVID, and Ollie Robinson has replaced him in a like-for-like change.
Still out there doing the rounds, COVID, isn't it? Yeah, numbers have been quite high again recently. Bamber into the attack. None for 27 yesterday from 11 overs. 3 of them were maidens. He's a right-hander. He comes in and he bowls, and it bounces out the keeper's gloves. And playing a miss from Jones. That's left him rather late there. That was a good delivery.
Very on the morning today, Middlesex. Obviously been rewarded with the wicket of Alex Lees, and I mentioned it in the previous over. It is starting to do something off the pitch. They are starting to drag Durham's batters slightly uncomfortable, get them to play at deliveries that yesterday they wouldn't have been tempted to play at.
Bamber again, Finkel end, and Jones goes forward to a ball that's wide of off stump, and that's a leave. Taken low by the keeper. Bit wobbly out there at the moment, the ball. Bit wobbly in here. Are you? Where are you taking us tonight then, Kev, for a meal? Which supermarket are you going to treat us to?
Where did we go to? Camden when you were down.
Camden, yeah, we did. Camden Lock we went to. Yeah.
£10 for a slice of cheese.
That's Bamber balls. That's a glorious shot there for 4. Really nice shot from Jones. Takes him to 99. He cuts that away through the covers and is edging towards his 2nd century in first class cricket. His first came this year when he got 108 against Leicestershire here, possibly on the same wicket, or certainly in the same area of the square. Well, that was a really nicely timed shot right in the middle. It wasn't just the slice of cheese for 10 quid that you paid for, it was the very small vegan burger that you bought as well, wasn't it?
That was basically a slice of cheese, wasn't it?
Yeah. My noodles weren't bad. Jones waits as Bamber bowls and fends this down into the ground and one-handed into the offside. No run there. So 99 from 188 balls. He's hit 18 fours in this innings. And in the last 5 overs, he's got 11 runs from 17 deliveries. Taps his bat into the ground as Bamber comes in and bowls. It's defended. Back into the ground. He is looking to be where are we? This will be Durham century 324 in first class cricket. It's their 30th anniversary of becoming a first class county and joining the county championship. And that's cut towards backward point. He's not going to get a run there either. He's going to keep his composure here. That is the end of the over though. So a nice boundary for the 4 to take him to 99, but he'll now be at the non-striker's end again.
Will be Helm to continue at the Lumley end. Did have Borthwick playing and missing quite regularly in his first over. Challenged both edges of his bat, so he'll be hoping to tease a mistake out of the Durham skipper. 7 off 24 at the moment. Helm in, bowls, and Borthwick just defends into the offside, no run. Much better start from Helm today. Was, I wouldn't say overly loose, but the opening pair for Durham were able to get him away quite easily. I know Alex Lees was able to tuck a fair few deliveries away off his hips, and Helm seems to have started with a little bit of a straighter line this morning. Comes in again, bowls, and Borthwick again just prod back, no run. Two slips, backward point, covers in place, mid on, mid off. Square leg, mid wicket, and Bamber down at fine leg to complete the field. Helm turns to the top of his mark. Strides in again, bowls, and Borthwick flicks this to short mid wicket. No run. Correction on the field there are 2 short mid wickets in play for Borthwick. His only boundary of the inning so far was clipped through there and almost was caught, but just managed to flash it past him quickly enough.
I've had a text about the flag at Lumley Castle.
Helm in, bowls, and Borthwick just prods into the offside no run. What does the text say, Martin?
Nicola McCabe says the flag at Lumley Castle blew away during the storms. They are now awaiting for a new one. Wow. There was a lot of storm damage up here. Storm Arwen in November and early December. There were thousands of homes cut off from the electricity supply for weeks, and lots of damage, you know, in the area where I live. Gable ends came down on houses. A number of cars were crushed. The roof blew off one section of South Shields Cricket Club. Whole roof peeled off like a tin can.
Helm in again, bowls, and Borthwick again defends into the offside no run.
And then after a number of trees and buildings had been weakened by that storm, which was a red warning storm, I think it was the first red warning we'd had in this area, there were 3 big storms hit in the same week in the February half term. Lots more trees and buildings were damaged then.
1 ball of Helm's over left.
I think you'd have to have a flag made of carbon fibre to survive those storms.
Change in the field, one of the mid wickets has gone back out to deep square leg for the final ball over, maybe some chin music. Helm in, and it was the double bluff. LBW appeal.
Going down the leg side, I think.
Not given by the umpire. I think Martin is right there, looking back on the stream, going down leg side, and probably height would have had an impact to play. Maiden over for Helm. He's backed up his first maiden over with his second one, and Durham remain 160 for 1 after 59 overs.
They are hoping to start again at Scarborough at 12:30.
Need to start for Hampshire's title push.
Remember going there in the 2005 season. It was the week actually that Gary Pratt ran Ricky Ponting out in the test match at Trent Bridge. I was listening to that driving home back across the moors, and it was a chilly wet week actually. We had quite a few rain delays that week, so one day I reached for my coat and I couldn't get it on my arms. I realised I'd taken my wife's jacket by accident. So a bit like Kevin Hans planning that. Here's Bamber then to Jones. He plays it back to the bowler. No run there. He's still on 99.
How did you accidentally take your wife's jacket?
We both had we'd been on honeymoon and bought these denim jackets at a store in Canada, which were fairly similar looking. And I just picked the wrong one off the hook without realising. Didn't need it for like the first day or two, and then suddenly realised I got the wrong one when it was raining, so I had to race into town to a shop and buy a coat.
Amazing.
Jones on strike, and he pushes this to point. No run there. It's been a long process through the 90s for Michael Jones. Called up by Scotland last week for the one-dayer against New Zealand at the weekend on Sunday, I think it is. Last played for Scotland in a one-dayer in 2019. He's played in 8 in all. From Ormskirk in Lancashire, looking to get to his 2nd century in first-class cricket. And he's now faced 192 balls. 2 slips in place for him. Bamber comes in and bowls, and ball played back up towards the bowler's end once again. I've had the camera on pause ready to get that glorious moment, and it's been such a long time it keeps switching itself off and going back to the normal phone setting.